My name is Maggie McGrath, and I'm with Forbes Breaking News. Hurricane Milton is barreling towards the Florida coast, and it is estimated to cause north of $50 billion in damages, depending on how it hits. This Category 5 storm could be catastrophic. It's been called a once-in-a-century storm. Joining us now to talk about disaster relief is Jeffrey Schlegelmilch. He is the director of the National Center for Disaster Preparedness at Columbia Climate School. Jeffrey, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start with the numbers, because I just said north of 50 billion, but there are Wall Street reports that put the figure that Milton could cause in damages at 60 billion. There's another report that says 175 billion for Tampa Bay alone and another 70 billion for Fort Myers. We know this is a Category 5 storm. We know that it is a once-in-a-century hit, potentially. How bad could this be?
The short answer is bad. I guess the tougher question is how bad. And with these wild swings in terms of the economic damage estimates, I think it reflects a lot of the uncertainty around this. Now, there's different methodologies that may just look at property damage, others that may look at cascading sort of economic disruption. But there's also a lot of things we don't know yet. So how high the storm surge is in Tampa Bay. This is a very populated area with a lot of infrastructure. So the difference of a couple of feet could be the difference in several $billion. The path that the storm takes, the amount of rainfall that falls, these are all things that we just don't know yet. I should say, too, even in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene in the early days, we're also still seeing wild swings between the total economic damage as the picture comes into full view. So these estimates are striking. They make sense. Exactly how bad it is, I think, depends on what happens over the next 48 hours or so.
You mentioned Helene, and we've been talking to AccuWeather meteorologists about how Florida and other parts of the country have barely recovered from Helene. But let's focus on the Florida coast. What's your assessment of how well they've cleared debris from Helene in anticipation of Milton?
Yeah, so the short answer is there just has not been enough time to remove the debris. And they've recently called off the removal of debris. They've had to send their contractors out of harm's way and really just focus on evacuation and managing that. I heard a number earlier today, something like 5%. That makes sense. Debris management, removal of debris is actually one of the most time-consuming and expensive parts of those very early days of recovery. And unfortunately, there just hasn't been enough time to get a lot of this out of the roadways and get it in places so it won't be blown around. So it just adds a whole nother layer of hazards and things that could impact with the winds and the floodwaters of Milton.
When you say 5%, does that mean only 5% of the debris from Helene has been cleared, or 5% remains?
No, it has been cleared. So
5%.
Very top and bucket. Yeah. So these estimates, there just isn't enough time to get out there and to remove the sheer magnitude of debris that's created from storms like this. It takes weeks and months to sort of get out and get into staging areas, and even longer to take out of the area and sort of take it to its final resting place. So there just hasn't been nearly enough time.